Tower of God, episode 10. There's a lot of things that I really liked in this episode. Very few more than our Little Rack. How could you not love Little Rack? Look at him. He's everything you like about Rack. Bite-sized, hilarious. Uh, Looks like he's like Rack Jr., but no, that's him. That's the man, the myth, the legend, the Gator. What's up, everybody? Tower of God episode 10 was really, really interesting. Coon, as we see, continues to be this like awesome manipulative character. Turns out that the stuff in the previous game, him whispering to Quant and everything, was all according to this crazy plan that he had. He had this conversation with the red-haired girl with the eye patch. I don't know what her name is. I don't know if she's been mentioned. Like, if her name has been mentioned. If it has, I'm sorry. Red hair eye patch girl tells him that, we need to be watchful of Ho. Like, that guy's going to crack pretty soon. He's dealing with a lot of pressure. And, of course, he was. And so he tells Quant that Quant needs to watch Ho. And evidently that was all true. And that sort of spiraled into sort of the chaos that happened at the end of the episode. Of the previous episode. And this one, we get some interesting comedic moments. As I mentioned, Little Rack, sort of like a subplot of this is he bumps into the director. I think his name is Yu Han. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that pronunciation. Bumps into Yu Han in the hallway and is like, "Oh, I didn't see you there. You were so small. What were you doing in my way?" Now, if I've learned anything, it's that you really don't want to mess with these like upper echelon people. And the director obviously seems more powerful than the other. I can't remember. Is it administrator? Is that what their name is? The like proctor tester type people like Quant and Lero, whatever his name is. But the director guy obviously seems more powerful than them, and he shrinks Rack down to this like kitty size, and he gives him the same like, "Oh, sorry, didn't see you there. You were so small," or something. That was interesting, and then we got a lot of funny moments with Little Rack. He's pounding candy bars as if, like, I mean, he always did that, but I think it was his goal, like, maybe increase his size. He asks Coon if he has anything in his bag that can help him out. And I like how Rack is this, like, comedic, character, but he has some seriousness to him. He has some merit. He has this cool conversation with Coon here about continuing the ascension of the tower with Bam and believing in Bam, even though he sees him as like his prey. He's like, the black turtle is my prey. But you feel this sort of friendship that he has with Bam and Coon, that he doesn't like want to leave them behind. And I like that about him a lot. My good friend Do Young that recommended me this show had indicated to me that Rack was this really, really cool character. And I sort of like brushed it off when he first described him, and then as I've watched the show, as I've actually opened up my eyes and seen how cool Rack is, how could you not love him? I like he's a candy bar eating gator man. He's great, and Little Rack is even greater. I kind of hope he gets back to his normal size though. But we have a funeral for Ho, and pretty much all of the main like test takers, the regulars and stuff like that. They show up at this. It was, Bam wanted to do this funeral thing for Ho. Felt bad for his friend. Cause Bam, it's an awesome, cool dude. They leave some flowers. Little Rack leaves some candy bars, of course. And they all go to it, including Rachel. Now, the others, I think like right after the funeral go and they start drinking. They all get drunk. It's pretty funny. Rachel has this conversation with Bam. And this is cool because this is the first like real solid conversation that they've had since, I think, starting this tower thing. She had like a conversation with Coon if I remember, but Bam was unconscious. Everybody knows that that's Rachel, by the way. It's not really like Michelle. I don't think Bam is that stupid. He knows that that's her. And that's, like pretty fully revealed in this conversation because he's starting to apologize to her for certain situations, for what just happened. She's injured and everything like that. And whoever that his name is Ghost, I believe, the big ogre looking dude that was with her at the start of this, he's disappeared. So I don't know if he had some allegiance to her, some alliance to her, something like that. He saw her get hurt. He's gone now, and he's failed the test or whatever. He's out. So that guy's gone, and Bam, is feeling bad. He starts to apologize, which is sort of interesting because if anybody should be apologizing, it's probably Rachel, because she left him behind literally in the dark. And so she starts sort of like, feeling emotional and crying about this, and basically saying that she's not the person that Bam really thinks that she is. Like, I'm not the girl that you fell in love with. I was sort of annoyed by you back then. Really tries to like push him off, saying that like, oh, you just kept following me and stuff like that, and you followed me into this tower and everything, and basically saying that he's sort of like misguided for loving her. And a lot of people might even think that way, like while watching this. I enjoy the aspect of I don't trust Rachel, and I do think that what she did was kind of screwed up, and she's definitely capable of screwing stuff up in the future. I think that if she was willing to do it once, she's probably willing to do it again. There's a lot of like shadiness to her that and there's so much like I don't know about the world and stuff like that. Like at this point you don't know who's really a good guy, who's really a bad guy and stuff like that. You have like sort of an inkling, and Rachel is this sort of like weird like medium where she does a lot of stuff that you don't like, but Bam really likes her, and she almost seems solid at points. But I don't trust her. I kind of think honestly, and Dorsey's probably the best girl for Bam at this point. But he tells her, he has this cool speech that like she was like the light in his darkness. He had nothing. It's hard for him to really like stick being mad at her because she is literally like the light of his world. Like he had nothing before. She basically taught him the basics of like the very like basic fundamental things that he knows. He had nothing before. The world was just darkness before she came into it. But yeah, I mean, she was his light. That's how he sees her. She cries even more. She obviously likes this. This is a cool little speech here from our man Bam. Bam continues to be an awesome guy. But yeah, so afterwards they did the funeral. Like everybody gets drunk and stuff like that. Turns out that we are going to lose Serena, who doesn't have enough points to pass, and she tries to sneak out, but she has this cool conversation with goodness, what's his name? The purple jumpsuit guy. That's what I'm gonna call him. Purple jumpsuit guy. Who I could see people maybe shipping them together, or something like that. He's like, you're just gonna leave without saying goodbye, whatever. She gives him his like knife or something like that, and tells him to like sort of not give up. They get this cool like little goodbye scene. Sad to see her go. I kind of like Serena. Side note: I'm very interested as to what happens like when you fail this tower test. I don't know if maybe they've said this. Like, do you get to try it again? Is it one shot, one deal? Are the people that are like dead really dead? Like, is Ho actually gone? Because they linger on his body a lot in a lot of these scenes. Especially with, like, the funeral and stuff like that. And his funeral, like, he goes into, like, this, like, glass chamber thing. I'm wondering if you fail or if you die on this test, this is, again, complete speculation. I have not read the webtoon. I am anime only. I wonder is that almost like a restart? Is that, like, a weird restart on life? Like, maybe I'm getting too, like, digging way too deep into, like, what ifs or something like that. And how is, like, dying on the tower different than just failing via your points or whatever it is? I don't know. Interesting, but we lose Serena. We're going to lose that red hair eye patch girl. We're going to lose Ghost, the big dude that was with Rachel, apparently. There's like so, and then I think that's it for like the main people that we lose, but evidently we're going to lose. I think they cut some of the people out of it. Very, very interesting note in this episode is the sort of like relationship between Yuhan and Lero. These names are so hard. Let's talk a little more about Yuhan first. So Yuhan has an interesting scene in this one. He's the director guy. He is, from what I understand, slightly like he's like in charge of all these like proctor type people, and so seemingly more powerful. I believe they've all ascended the tower. I don't know if completely up to a certain point. Whatever. They've all climbed the tower. They all have crazy Shinsu powers and stuff like that. He seems to be the strongest one that we've met so far. Now, he has this weird scene where he confronts what seems like a shady spy sort of dude that's dressed as that's hiding as one of the proctors here, the guy that was doing I think the wave control testing. And he points out that he knows exactly who he is. It seems like we're going to get this interesting fight, this cool conflict. Yuhan sort of laughs it off, says like, I'm not, I have no interest in fighting you. The guy still attacks him anyway. Oh, he refers to Yuhan as like this, like the deep sea fish or something like that, which is interesting because we already saw that Bam had, battled a fish thing at the start of this. And then there's the fishermen. There's a lot of like fish imagery, terminology going on in here. So the imposter guy sticks this gigantic fish thing at him. He, Yuhan calmly destroys this fish with like his own fish, or I don't know if that's like an extension of him. I don't know how that works. They don't really explain it yet. But he has this big. He says, "You got a fish? I'll beat you with a bigger fish," and does. But he doesn't kill the guy or anything. He basically says that your goal here is just to get the Black March and the Green April, and he has a goal of getting rid of the pests of jihad. So getting rid of, like, I guess in this case, Anak. He says something along the lines of like anybody that is a nuisance to jihad is somebody that I need to take out or something like that. And interesting that we see this in this character is this guy has been very calm and relaxed, yet he's like really powerful and stuff like that, but he's been just sipping coffee a lot of the time. And it's cool contrast to like a previous scene in this episode where he like funnily shrank our man Rack down into a little baby Rack. So, we know this guy is crazy powerful. And even so that he is sort of like starting to weird out Lero. Again, sorry. Lero. I'm going to call him Lero. Who, works for him, I guess. And, he definitely like questions a lot of the actions that this guy has done. Lero brings up the fact that the only person that could have really that had knowledge of who was going to be on whose team in the latest game would be somebody in the administration of said game. So the only person that could realistically put the details into that note and sort of spin who's been weaving this web of shit that's been going down would be somebody like the director here. He points that out to the director's face, and the director has this cool reaction where he's sipping his coffee thing and he puts it down and then it shatters into pieces, or it splits into cracks. So he's clearly getting frustrated with something. He always has this calm demeanor on or something going on. Lero obviously is super outclassed by this guy. But it's interesting to see that the director is sort of an antagonist figure here, because we love Anak. We just why we gotta get rid of our girl Anak. But yeah, I don't. So now I don't trust this director guy anymore. It seems like he's willing to do whatever it takes to sort of uphold these bizarre rules or structure that they have, and is he necessarily bad to the core? I guess it's probably too early to tell. Once again, I'm anime only, anime original. My husband's anime original Tower of God. But we also get this moment where they are talking about proceeding to the final exam, and says that obviously the people I mentioned that are out. Rachel is still in the game, but she's officially out due to injury. Like she can't. The director guy just dubs that she won't be able to do it. And this is Bam had made an agreement with Kun that like I'm gonna do what I need to do to climb this tower and see what's so important at the top or whatever. Just I'm going to just do what I can to be with Rachel, and I want you guys to support me and help me what you can. And Kun is like, yeah, I'll help you, but it might be sneaky, manipulative way because that's how Kun is. Bam's accepting of it. Bam's accepting of his friends. He's gonna use Rack as like his strength and stuff like that. So when they're having a conversation about going on to the next game, Rachel is told that she can't participate. Kun, goes to object to this. He's trying to find like sort of like a loophole and saying that, well, she can have the spot if I'm going to take the, I think it's the director administration test or whatever, which is supposed to be an even way harder test. And the director guy says to him that it's going to be way harder. It's actually so hard that, shocker, you can't even do it. He says that, so Kun isn't allowed to do it. He indicates that only an irregular is the type of person that can take that test. Lero, I guess, was also unbeknownst to this because he looks pretty shocked at this moment. And then we get, Bam stepping up saying, I'll do it, I'm an irregular. Poet said that he's an irregular in front of everybody. And, this is a big moment for Bam because, previously, we didn't, we as an audience knew that he was something called an irregular, but the cast didn't really know. So now it's known to everybody. It's still, by the way, pretty not explained what an irregular exactly is compared to everybody else. They have a little conversation about it, and it's said that if an irregular goes into the tower, it causes bad shit, calamity. Some of them don't know what it is. It's referred to as somebody who can open the gate themselves and not have it opened for them. I guess it's somebody that goes to take this tower. It goes to ascend the tower that wasn't chosen to do so. It's just doing it on their own. So we don't know a whole lot about the selection process of the tower yet or anything like that. But we do know those things, that evidently all these other people were chosen in some regard. We saw that Serena was kept alive when her friends got massacred and stuff like that. So it seems like from everybody's background, there's a reason as to why they were pulled into this, except for really Bam, who did it on his own accord. So that is something irregular, I guess. So he is an irregular. He says, I could take this test, even though it's going to be really, really hard and stuff like that. He goes with the director guy and gets, put into this room with another giant fish thing, similar to episode 1. So interesting to see how that's going to go. Is this fish thing an extension of the Yuhan director guy? I don't know. I don't know. How is Bam going to overcome this? He doesn't have the Black March, right? Isn't he? Is that not in his possession at this point? If it is, let me know. So yeah, this is a very interesting episode. Let me know what you guys thought about episode 10 of Tower of God down below. Are you supportive of Little Rack? Because I need to know, because Little Rack is hilarious. I'm really liking this anime a lot. I know it's a hype train kind of show, but I'm glad that I got on that hype train. It is certainly entertaining every week, and it makes me excited, for Wednesdays. And let's hope that continues with the rest of the season and more seasons to come. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this. If you like what I'm doing here, please consider hitting that subscribe button. There's also a link to my Patreon in the description box below if you want to join that. Thank you so much for watching. It really means a lot to me. My name is Miasma, and I'll see you next time.